What this exercise was all about, the launch was a failure, but will it help ease any concerns in the West?
No, on the contrary, I think it might increase concerns because, of course, North Korea has a massive loss of face. This was supposed to be to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Kim Il-sung, but quite patently also it's a satellite launch attempt. This is a three-stage rocket, on top of which was a satellite. People say, but it's dual use, and therefore it was really a missile test in disguise. I question that. I mean, every missile that goes up is potentially capable of delivering either a nuclear bomb or taking a satellite into space, and this patently was the latter. And the North Koreans, they got proper approval from all the international authorities before it happened. They're a member of the Outer Space Convention. They signed it in 2009. They have internationally legally, every right to try to put a satellite into space. But unfortunately, of course, their technology is not good enough. It wasn't good enough for Taepodong 2, and it's not good enough for this one either.
If it wasn't good enough, what does that say about the general state of the North Korean threat?
The North Korean threat is, in my view, quite strongly overplayed. I don't think they're nearly as threatening as they're made out to be. They're not really a rogue state. They're a very threatened state. They feel very threatened by the United States, having war games every year with the South Koreans and with Japan. I think what they really want is to have to have a peace agreement which goes back to the armistice and erases that with a peace treaty, and some reassurances from the United States and from Western countries in general that they're not going to be attacked. But unfortunately, that's very hard for them to understand when there are war games in the South every year to try to simulate some kind of attack on the North.
The other thing we've seen, of course, is this unprecedented access by Western journalists for this launch. Is this, at least in part, related to Kim Jong-un's emergence as leader?
I think it could well be. He's obviously consolidating his position within the party, within the army. His aunt and uncle and others around him are reinforcing that. It could well be that this is an initiative that he took himself. It was very carefully staged. As you say, the foreign press were allowed in. Unprecedentedly, they were able to look at the missile and to look at the satellite and to be, I think they were present at the launch as well. So all this was to prove that this is not some covert attempt to test a three-stage missile to deliver nuclear weapons. It was, in fact, a launch vehicle to put a satellite into geostationary orbit above the Korean Peninsula.
Nevertheless, the US calls this a provocative action. The UN Security Council is meeting in emergency session tonight. Do you think we're likely to see any concrete steps come out of this?
Not really, certainly not on the part of the North Koreans. The more they're threatened, the more they're like a porcupine. They'll put their quills out. And when we say it's a provocative action, Anton, when the South Koreans send up a three-stage missile, when the Japanese do, as they often do, is this regarded as a provocative action? It's dual-use technology, just like the North Koreans. But it seems that North Korea is the country that cops the flak every time. And if we were only less suspicious, if we could have some kind of much more relaxed approach, a much more intelligent, careful approach towards North Korea, I think we'd find that those quills would go down. And as they have in the past demonstrated, they might become more cooperative. It's a very difficult country to live in. The citizens have a terrible time, but it's made worse, it's exacerbated by the embargo against them.
Richard Broinowski, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.